I'm in, forgotten the name of the town, but here's the entrance to it, just up here. So we'll go in. So here we are, going in this temple, and you can see right off the wonderful gardens that are here, and wonderful gardens over here, and the architecture is very interesting. Chinese have a way of painting many of their buildings with very, very fancy color, sort of like that, and you can see a very detailed picture. So I'm going up here through that gate, and this is where I've come from. You can see there are plants everywhere, and that very interesting roof line. So here we are in this temple, in the courtyard of the temple. I can see up over the roof of that building a giant banana tree, and here comes a man down here. He's carrying water. You can see that's quite a load he's got, carrying that water down there on those steps. You often see people in China here carrying things over their shoulder in one of those shoulder poles. You see these very interesting old plants here. There are plants everywhere. Wonderful fountain. As it turns out, this is not a temple, but some kind of cultural center. Very interesting. Yes, this is the back of the building right now, or the back of the property, cultural center, and you can look over these interesting roof lines and see the city in the background. So this city is named Tonghai, and it's 4 or 5 hours by bus ride south of Yunnan, sort of southwest. And there's a big lake over there, and apparently there's supposed to be a Mongolian settlement over there where these Mongols came down with Genghis Khan 700 years ago, and they stayed in this county. Here I'm just at the base of this banana tree, and these leaves are huge. So that's a banana tree. I don't right now see any bananas on it, but these, look at the size of that leaf right there. Huge, that's bigger than I am. But these banana trees only grow one bunch of bananas, and then the tree dies off, and other trees grow up from the roots, and new bananas will be produced in about 3 years. Well, here is the courtyard again, with all of these wonderful plants, and that banana tree is just behind me up there. Certainly is wonderful landscaping around here, and here's a Chinese family here with a little boy. So here I am overlooking the lower courtyard at that interesting building. And look at this tree, how this tree, the limbs have been trained to intertwine through that other tree. Interesting. Part of the gardens here, and you can see that there's some water going down here. I'll just go down and have a look at it. Very green. Here we have it. And note the little footbridge there. Isn't that wonderful? And this little bit of water, which has all kinds of vegetative material in it to make it green, it's just lined with all of these plants. It's wonderful. Now these trees along here are very, very interesting. You see that this is a lot of bonsai. Look at the root in this one, where I guess the Chinese people have a great deal of patience in training these plants over a great number of years. So these are probably prize specimens that have been grown in this cultural center over some number of years. Very interesting. So here we're just going to go up to this special park that's in the center of this city, Shu Park, I think, or something of that sort. And I don't know what's up there, but it looks like an interesting gate. We'll just follow this revolutionary soldier up the hill. He's got a Mao suit and everything. And the cultural center just next door seemed to honor Mao a great deal. It had some of his poetry around, some of his sayings, and pictures of him around. But this was a park that we were entering, and I guess this is a representation of the park on this mountain. And here is the gate that we're just entering now, and hopefully all those other buildings are up there. Maybe we might get to them before dark. So this gate right here, here it is, right here. So we just go up through here then. We're coming up to on this wonderful path. You see the vegetation on one side of the path is quite thick. There's a banana tree right there. Another banana tree down there. These characters here tell you this is Shusan Hill Park. Up the hill park. And up the hill it is. There are all kinds of steps going up this hill to all of these different pavilions. There's some wonderful stonework right there. And just entering that gate that we just saw in the video is this garden and this other building. And I guess this was a temple at one time with that incense burner right there. Some wonderful flowers out at this time of year in late September. Another big courtyard, and some people practicing Tai Chi. You see people practicing this quite frequently around, and people do it in unison. So here's another man. These are actual learned steps. Well, these people look like they may be doing a different dance. Usually you get whole groups doing this in unison, and it's really a martial art. It's almost like dance. It's a form of exercise for these people. You can see how graceful this lady is when she's doing this. Here I am in a covered walkway, and you can see this intricate painting. Very, very detailed and very nice. This is sort of southwest Yunnan, and the vegetation here is very, very thick. As you can see, I'm just on this place where this covered walkway is, and these people doing the Tai Chi, they always try to find fancy places, very nice, pleasant places to do this Tai Chi. There, the woman just punched somebody. You can see this uses all the muscles. And as I said, those are actual learned steps. Here we're just going up to the temple again, approaching it from another direction. You can see there's a little fountain here. And here is this covered walkway with very, very fancy painting. We're just going up more steps, and you can see this wonderful back part of the temple, it looks like. Anyway, everything is so wonderful here, and it smells very, very fresh. Too bad you can't smell this on the tape. Here we are at this roof line of this temple. See the very, very intricate roof line, and you can see the steps that I've just popped up. Okay, to the roof, and you can see those wonderful dragons there as part of the decoration. Well, there's a very, very fancy roof on top of this wall. I'll just go down this a little bit. You can see it's a very, very fancy wall, and I guess it's a dragon. Here is this fancy roof again, and you can see it's really two dragons, and in Chinese apparently there's a tendency or a myth, I guess, of two dragons fighting for one piece of diamond. And there it is in the center. Here's another building, and this is I don't know whether you can see that, Denyam Bridge. Notice I'm reading the Chinese, but there's a shrine up there, and I guess people can come up here and pray. Here are the Buddhas in this little shrine. And a big Buddha up behind the glass. This shrine is almost at the top of the hill here, and you can see that it's very, very peaceful and quiet. Notice this tree with the ferns growing out way up here out of the bark. Anyway, it's very, very peaceful up here. Well, there's that temple that we just came from, and then just around here is another pagoda as we climb higher and higher up the hill. Now here's another part of the temple here, and this is typical of temples. They're usually on the side of a hill, and you go higher and higher to get to the different shrines. Beautiful farmland around here. Some of the best farmland I've seen. Is very, very flat. And so here is a sign commemorating, I guess, the monk who started this. And it says, in this, here is the statue of the immortal monk Pan Fu. It is said that Master Pan, with his Buddhist staff, poked the water falling hole a few kilometers in the east of town. Thus the water leaked away and the flat land of Tonghai appeared. As I said, it's wonderful flat farmland here. It almost looks like the Holland Marsh, where people do all vegetable growing. Well, there's that sign in the temple that I just came from, and you can tell I couldn't say anything there because there were some people meditating. The woman was keeping a pretty close eye on us, but the man, he was really meditating. And so here is another part of this. The name Puguan comes from the Buddhist sculpture Fu Guang Pu Zhou. Buddha light shines over all living things. It was built in the late Tang dynasty. That's about the year 1300. Inside which there's a tablet of the notes of Zi Zhou Lan Ru of the Pangguan Hill. The inscriptions, which are of much value for the study of the history of the southern Yunnan during the Yuan dynasty. Well, here's the gateway leading, I guess, to these tablets that we just read about. And this looks wonderful in here. Another little courtyard with some plants, a very private place. Oh yes, look at this, it goes down here quite a long way. Those look like the tablets over in that building. Well, here is this famous tablet. It's very, very old. There's another tablet over there. Of course, we have some guards guarding this tablet. So there is one guard, and there's the other one way back there. He's got many arms, so if you did something wrong, he's for sure going to get you. There's a little old lady up there praying right now. So I'll go up and see if I can get some pictures up there. This is this courtyard here. There's a man reading over there. I don't know what he's doing. Maybe he's the guard for this. You can see his Yunnan pipe beside him. Well, this he must be the caretaker up here. And that building is his dormitory. Just beside that building is another wonderful courtyard. Some bonsai here. There's a wonderful one right there. Now here's a little spring, and this must be the spring that the sign talked about. when the Buddha first made this temple. So this is very, very pure water. Here's a drinking cup, but I don't think I'm going to have any today. More bonsai here. Look at this one. That must have been trained to be like that. Here's the other side of that. And you can see that this plant is almost like a piece of sculpture. Very interesting, very artistic. And of course, which monastery would be complete without the fountain? Back over there is a very old pagoda behind that tree. I said that some of the fancy branches and the shapes and so on were trained. And here you can see in this bonsai that there's some wires holding the different branches into the shape. So I guess that's how they get the fancy shapes. Just walking out of here, you can see this wonderful garden. And right in around here is another very, very old pagoda. Well, the temples, the shrines, just seem to go on and on in this place. So here's another one we're approaching farther up the hill. Well, apparently this is the biggest temple and probably the last one up the hill. These aren't practicing temples anymore, but there are some believers still who feel that these are holy places. Most of the temples were destroyed during the Cultural Revolution. Now this temple represents the Tao religion, which is one of the apparently one of the three most important or popular religions in China, the Tao religion. There's the gate I just came through. It's interesting getting pictures here of almost anywhere because you can see very, very intricate roof lines. And there's also a statue to a god here, so I'll just go and have a look at it. Here's another shrine. Boy, doesn't he look fierce. Now here's a much more benevolent looking person. He's even got a smile on his face, and he would be an old man with long life. You can tell with the long beard and the long mustache and the big eyebrows. All of that means long life. Temples just seem to go on and on. Look at that wonderful pagoda up there on that pile of rocks. And look over there. You can see huge banana trees. Look at the size of those leaves. Bigger than man size. It's up in that pagoda now, and there's that huge banana tree. Those leaves have to be 10 feet long. Looking around is another direction. Well, here's another view of this. And as it turns out, the best shrine was not open up there, but you had to approach it up around through the back there. In the back, the door was locked. Anyway, here's another shrine, but it's getting a little dark now to see anything. But you can see a few little Buddhas in the front here. So here's some detail of this temple and this wonderful gate here. And over here is the temple, or the place, the shrine, and here are some people exercising. Not very, very strenuous. Well, it's now getting, it must be close to 7 o'clock. It gets dark here early in China, and so it's getting a little dark for photography now. So this will be the last little bit in this temple. Well, here I took this cab here. The cab driver's hiding right now, but I took this cab for 10 to the village. And you can see a Mongolian lady over there. She's doing her washing, I guess. And you can see the distinctive costume. And there's a canal along here. And there's all kinds of fishing nets, and you can see the wheat or something has been piled here. There's a fishing net. So let's walk into the village and see what's up. There's Mongolian lady there. Well, you can see that they're upholding their customs here. This was a group of people that have been here for 700 years. They came down as soldiers with Kublai Khan back, I think 700 years ago, and they're pretty well holding on to their culture. That Tibetan lady walking down there, and just way down there you can see all of these people are washing their clothes in the river. There's a Chinese duck. There are lots of ducks in the river here. And lots of fishing nets. There's a fishing net just coming up here. So that's a fishing net, and they just drop that into the water. And then they pull back that pole to lift their net out of the water, and they think there might be fish there. You can see all of the nets up this way. There are dozens of them, and nobody's fishing right now. Maybe it's not a good fishing time, but you can see how this close fishing line here is weighted to the ground. It's got a weight there, and they just lift that weight. It's sort of balanced to lift their net out of the water. A little more Tibetan ladies over there, and there's a girl with a very interesting colorful costume, pinks and greens and blues. Very interesting. Looking up the main road off the highway here to this village. And you can see that there's a a lot of farming. Here is somebody carrying some water, I guess, or something to the fields. Maybe it's some night soil as fertilizer. Anyway, everything is lush and green here. Another view of this village, and here come some people carrying a cow. He's not really carrying the cow, is he? He's just leading the cow down the road here. And there's another lady down there. She's running away, I think, because she didn't want her picture taken. These ducks must belong to somebody. And they've all been dyed, I guess, to identify them. They've got a pink stain on them. But here you can see this village. And here comes a lady carrying something. And here are some boys here. I don't know whether they're going to move as I get them. Hello! Ni hao! Ni hao! Ni hao! Anyway, isn't that cute? There's another lady going up there. Mongolian lady. She looks like she's going to the John there. So here is one of the streets, and this man here, I'm just going to see if I can get him. I guess he was in the picture just as I was going up here. So you can see how narrow these streets are. You never know what's going to be around the next corner. There's somebody's door. Somebody eating there. And a sidewalk I've just walked up, and behind all of these walls people have nice courtyards, and so you don't at all get the impression of their living style, but look at the interesting decoration up here in this corner of this building. Here's a view out over the village roofs, and you can see the mountains in the background. Between these mountain ranges is this very, very flat plain where there's some wonderful vegetable growing. A house for a family, and you can see it's quite large back there, and it has a hip roof just like ours. But all of the rafters, well, you can see that up there, are trees. And then just above the door here, we can see the second floor of this house, and at this point it's open. I don't know whether it's still going to be open later on or not. This appears to be one of the main streets in the village here, and I'm just standing by this house or building. Maybe it's a hall, this marvelous top here. But as I turn around, you might be able to see some children in the back. You can see these are mud. Here's an old cart, and all of the children are running up the street because they don't want to have their picture taken. But Here comes a lady, and she doesn't seem to mind too much, maybe, as I take her picture. She's disappearing down there somewhere, and I heard her saying something. Here comes another lady with a costume way up here somewhere. Oh, maybe she's going to disappear. Here, it's another lady coming up here, and you can see the colorful costume she had on. There she goes down there. Here comes another lady up here. Interesting. Over here, there's a lady working over there. She's just been carrying a few bricks. Now she's going to pick up her water. Or bricks, maybe. I guess it's loads of bricks. She's going to carry that somewhere. Here's a little square of some sort, and some housing around here. There's some new construction going on down around here. I don't know whether we can see in this building here at all. Not much to see, I guess. You can see something about the style of houses here. Quite large. They seem there's some kind of entertainment going on in here. I think getting ready for the Celebration National Day. So I'm just going to go in and have a look. Once I get in, I won't be able to say anything. I'm just going to photograph.
没得了，北京了，他们说。
亲爱的各位老师、各位同学，此次由院团委、院学生会主办的晚会到这里就要结束了。
感谢各位的光临，祝大家晚安。
So I guess that's all for now. I think these were students. Narrow gauge railway, and I'm quite excited about going down to the mountains on this. And train is really quite packed with people, and there is no upgraded seats, I guess, but I think it's going to be a good ride. Lots of people getting on here. Narrow gauge railway. There aren't many left. The tracks here are really quite narrow. A picture from the train. We're just entering the mountain regions, and I've been down this way many times, past this lake. Anyway, we'll just turn it off now and see if we can get something later. So I've just been informed that this is Yangtze Lake. And you can see in the mountains over there, there's that boat that we've seen many times. A better picture of that boat that's sitting out there. This is a resort, apparently that was funded by the people from Hong Kong. You can see that there's quite a lot of development along here. The lake is really quite large. The views from up here are quite wonderful. I noticed down there is the highway that I've been down on the bus a number of times. So here is the train that we're on. We're just going to go through a tunnel here. See the mountain scenery around here. Mountains are really quite high. These mountains are quite high around here. You can see some terraced fields down here. Train, and you can see it really is quite packed. There are people sitting between the cars. I'm lucky enough to have a seat by the window. Not everybody is so lucky. There's the other track over there. get a picture of what some of the Chinese farm life is like. We just passed some typical farmer's house. Out the window over there, there are lots of cars on the road and trucks all lined up. There must be an accident on this road. It's quite a treacherous road, and I haven't on the wrong side of the train here, I think, right now, because we're on the mountain side, and we're going through the most interesting section of the place now, but all of the interesting scenery seems to be on the other side. I was saying before, I don't think I've ever been down this road right below where the grass is lining up without there being some kind of action. Well, I've moved to another spot now where I'm hoping to get some better pictures. Keep on going through tunnels here. I've moved to the other side of the train here. Really quite spectacular. From time to time you might catch glimpses of the traffic tied up on the road below. As I said, I don't think I've ever been through here without there being accidents. There's the action must be back there somewhere. Anyway, it really is quite spectacular through here. And it's because of this scenery that I wanted to take this train ride. This is on the narrow gauge railroad. See, the traffic is backed up coming up this way, so we passed the accident already. As I said before, we're going toward the Vietnamese border. Look at this scenery down here. Truly spectacular. You can see another train track across the road there. And this train is a narrow gauge railway. It's very slow, but it winds its way around the mountains. It has a few tunnels like this one we're just going into now. But mostly this winds itself away around the outside of the mountains. There's backwards from where we're going. This train just threads itself around the side of the mountain rather than going through like the fast train, which the tunnels just go straight through the mountain. This railway was built by the French at the turn of the century, all by hand labor. Train winding through it looks like we're going very, very slow here. You can see an old farm village over here. Looks like we've come out most of the other side of the mountain now. There's lots of trees here blocking our view. It's interesting, you might have just seen a corn patch up there. There are a few corn patches around here. The Chinese make use of every little bit of land. Here's another village over there. See some farmers working in the field over here. And then all the fields are terraced there. shed there is a place where people would sleep so that nobody would swipe their crops. But we're quite high up, and here's a little peasant village. Some lotus flowers right there in front. It's amazing, even some of the railway stations have been up here, high up in the mountain here, and people would have to climb up to get to the railway station. Some idea of the farmland again. You can see that a lot of the crop has been piled up to dry. There you can see some wheat or whatever it is. Home is crop down there. I don't know whether you saw that or not. Here's a typical farm village. So all of these people would work in the fields up here. They'd all be farmers, and they would have an administration for this little town, controlled by the Communist Party. They'd have appointed leaders to allocate all of the land under the control of this little peasant village to the different residents there. You see that the plots of land are relatively small here. So here's some more scenery from peasant housing. Some of the farming along the side of the railway here. It's interesting to see the activity along the side of the track here. There's a long wall. Most things in China are wall. This is no exception here. Looks like we're pulling into a station. And you can see these cars here. That's the motors. Another one right in here. You see the train car. And there's a banana tree right there. And bamboo. Washrooms. Those are washrooms. You see every little bit is farmland here. It's a little, so it looks like we're going through more mountains here. Taking a picture of the little girl. She doesn't know. Wonderful scenery here. Mountains going back into the background. Looks wonderful, doesn't it? Oh, look at that. Isn't that marvelous? All those dogs. The river is almost dry here. And up above it was lots of boiling water. And now it's almost dry. It's still water after the boiling water. And now this. Very interesting. Look at this game down here where the riverbed seems almost dry. Wonderful scenery. Look at the cropland up here. It's like a walk up to your corn way up there. You get tired going to work. They started punishing many people. That was taking all the water, and now it's putting it back in the river again. When they see the water running out here, you can see the river. Yes, there's the water running out there. The water was dry above that power dam, using all of the water, and here it comes out again, so there's lots of water. The water was diverted through some kind of channel then to go through that power station. Wonderful scenery, isn't it? Look at that wonderful farmland over there. All of those terraced fields, and then a peasant village. Wonderful, isn't it? Well, there's a little station. Some horses there. Some restaurants. Oh, look at those camellias, or whatever they are. Almost hit me. Some more. More restaurants down here. This is a little settlement, I guess. Very typical of Chinese settlements. See, there's our train going along. Somebody just coming back from working in the fields here. I don't know if I can caught that or not. There's a guy working in the fields. There's a little fields down there where people claim every spot to work, don't they? Lady with her baby. Some people working in the fields. Scott up there. The scenery certainly is beautiful around here. There's a guy there. I don't know whether I get him. He's in a rubber tube. As you can see. Most of those are mud houses, and that's typical of peasant farmers' houses. Oh, some pack horses. Another peaceful scene. Well, here's some housing for some work people. These would be laborers, and quite often they'd live in these tents. Their work crews or something. Here's a guy coming down to get some water. That must be the kitchen up there. And here's another guy smoking his pipe. You can see the Yunnan pipe. Anyway, some guys eating dinner. Here's, maybe this is a cookhouse. Or is that machinery? Yes, that's machinery, generators and things. So there must be some work going on around here. There's some construction workers. Here's a guy, yes, there's some construction going on here. And those guys are building a scaffold out over the water. Another little house for somebody. Maybe it's another power project being built around here somewhere. We are sneaking ourselves around the corner here. That guy didn't like to get his picture taken, did he? The train is not moving very fast. I think I'm just going to be able to escape losing my head with these trees here. They're so close. Missed me. That's the little farm village up there. We're just going to pass underneath that with the train here. There's what you need. A pack horse. A little road going down over there. There's a truck going along that road. Not much in the way of roads here. There was a flagman for the train. Some kind of other little settlements. People walking along the road. Here we're going to go through another tunnel, I see, just over here. It wasn't the tunnel I was thinking of. There's the tunnel I was thinking of. Up there. Saw a man walking along the tracks here. The tracks are good roadways. Lots of people use them for walking. But here's the tunnel we're going in right here. We're going to stake right through this. There's some people working over there. Here we go. We're going to snake right into here. There we go. Cornfield. Up the mountains there. All of that light part is corn. Here's some on this side of the field as well, a river as well. And it looks like we're maybe pulling into another station. I don't know. How would you like to have to either plant or harvest all of that corn up those mountains? You'd be tired before you got to work. Even up to the top of the mountain up there. There's some corn. Crossing a river here. We are pulling to another station, and you can see some people here. I don't know what they're doing. The old men there are playing cards. Look at the old lady there. You always see lots of activity along the tracks here. Look, the wild banana trees just over there. And of course, there's the flag man. There's one of these at every little whistle stop. And in here somewhere is a girl carrying a shoulder pole with a couple of buckets of concrete. Girls do just as heavy a work as men do. So here she's carrying that up to the workmen upstairs who are building that new building. Their legs will be tough, won't they, after carrying that heavy concrete up there. There's a Chinese girl who's intent on doing something now. She was just jumping around a minute ago. That looks like a restaurant over there. There's a woman, or is it a man? It's a man leading some water into his bowls. Maybe he's making a soup. Would you like to go for dinner at that restaurant? Now here's something that happens at most little train stations. Vendors come along trying to sell things to the people in the train. So I don't know what this woman has. Looks like she maybe has some fruit. And here's another girl selling something. I don't know what she's selling. See if we can hear what she's selling. There was a girl over there doing some soup or something. Now you can see that she's knitting. A lot of Chinese girls and women knit. I've been taking pictures of this village, but what is interesting is how high the hills are behind. Look, this is right on the side of a big mountain. And that is very, very steep indeed. There's the flagman again. The train coming down here. So much for that. This is Guangbo, and the vegetation is here quite a lot different. This is the first time I've ever seen jungle, and you see all kinds of these banana trees growing wild all over the place with these huge leaves. The vegetation is very, very thick, so all these banana trees are growing up all over the mountains. You can see these people are getting off the train here, but I guess we're going a little further. So here we go. Out of this station. Look at all of those banana trees. You see the very thick vegetation. Sometimes it hits my arm here out the window. Here I'm off the train, and right across there, that's Vietnam. So I guess if we really wanted to go to Vietnam, we could just swim this little river here. I bet people make the travel over there all the time. Well, here we are on the main street, and you can see there are all kinds of palm trees here. I tried to take a picture of the border a few minutes ago, and they didn't let me. All these are restaurants where people are eating in, and you can see they're eating outside. So here I am in the town of Hekou. This is right in the Vietnamese border, and it's a little different than the rest of China that I've been to. For one thing, you see these people with those real Chinese hats quite a lot. And this is really quite a bustling little town. There's some more of those girls with those hats over there, and there goes an old lady. Maybe not so old. And here are some guys over here sitting on their bike. And there's a street up there, a market street. And I'm just going to go around and get some dinner now. I don't know exactly where I'm going to eat, but I'll just wander up and have a look. The things you see are these big palm trees just on the main street. And there's a guy coming past with his bicycle. Here is a market. And you can see there's everything here. But over here, an interesting man. You know, hopefully that picture will show up better than it is here. He has quite an interesting costume on. Must be an ethnic group. Another ethnic girl here of some sort. And this is really quite interesting to see these people. And down this marketplace here. So let's go down and have a look. Well, here's another market up here. And you can see that the vegetables and so on are sold on the street. And looking down here, more vegetables. There's a lady getting a massage right there. And so here is the Vietnamese market here. You can see somebody cooking right here. Right here. And here's a restaurant down here. So this is a restaurant. You can see down here. Here's some of these hammocks everybody's selling. And down here on the left you can see this lady working with, that's her house. Right in there, this platform. She lives there. And here's this market down here. If I can just get by this bike here. Everybody's selling all of these things. So it's really quite a busy market down here. There's some fish or something in this market. And you can see that there's just about everything here for sale. And everything is very, very packed, and it smells very, very spicy here in this market. I don't know what that girl's doing. So here we are, we're getting out to the end of this market now. There's lots of things here. This looks like all food. Let's see. Anyway, so much for that. So much for that. Anyway, so much for that. Here we go. All of these vendors here. This is in the Vietnamese market. And you can see everybody is selling all this stuff. And you know, there are some girls here sort of chasing me around. I don't know whether they're going to have their pictures in the paper or not. Those girls seem to want to chase me. They want me to go somewhere. Of course, I'm not going to go. Little girl over here, she's got that little monkey. You can see. And here's a guy with a bunch of lizards. So there's that little girl with the monkey. It's interesting, all of these Vietnamese are sitting on top of their vegetable stands, and I'm led to understand that all of the Vietnamese are wearing these hats. Interesting. See this stuff made out of horns around here. I've seen this up in Kunming, but I guess they come down here and get these things. I see so much of it around here. It must be Vietnamese. There's that little monkey that that little girl has. That's a cute little thing. I wish she doesn't really want her picture taken. I wish she'd let me see it. Well, there it is there. A little bit. You can tell she really likes it, doesn't she? This guy would move now. These people would move. I might be able to see that little daughter. You can see its paw hanging around her. Yeah, she doesn't want me to see it, so she's hiding it. Oh, you just caught a glimpse of its face. Here, this guy wants me to take this picture of this girl. I don't know why. He wants me to buy some of this too. You can see yes. There's more of these people, and there are all kinds of people down here, and they all beckon you in to do something in the Vietnamese section here. And here on this section, on this side of the river, is all of these places where you can buy some juice. I think maybe I'll sit there tonight and get some juice. Looking up the street, you can see that there are all kinds of palm trees, and then there are all kinds of taxis in here waiting for business to do. And there's the market I was just in. Well, this is the river between Vietnam and China. This is the boundary, and you can see right over there is some housing for Vietnam. It doesn't look like there's much over there except little villages, maybe a little village. And there seem to be many Vietnamese over here in China selling things and generally doing business. Right beside where I'm standing are all kinds of huge banana trees, and these seem to grow wild all over the place. So those are banana trees. I don't see any bananas on those ones, but I did see some bananas on the train this morning. Anyway, a very interesting plant, and those leaves have to be 10 feet long. Here's the bridge to walk across to Vietnam. Just get out of the way of this banana tree here. But that's the bridge, and it's a railway track and also a walking path. So you go across to Vietnam right there, and just around the shore here you can see there's a little bit of a settlement, not very much there. It doesn't look very prosperous. So that's Vietnam. Before, a soldier told me I couldn't take pictures of this, but I'm just off the side of this now, and so I'm taking pictures, and I see some people working down there. I don't know what they're doing. That person looks like they're doing something with bricks maybe, or wood. Wood, it must be wood. Maybe driftwood. The guy over there looks like he's chopping wood. Oh, that's what it is. It's a tree trunk. That guy's chopping it, and the other guy, I guess, is piling up the wood into, put it in his basket there. There's the guard walking pack. Single man patrol tonight. Another group of guys just went off. Now this is something you see quite frequently here. The bikes are so overloaded, the guys have to struggle to hold them up. They don't seem to use the three-wheelers here, so there is a way they move things here. Something different. The girl on her head. Haven't seen that here in China. Here's some wonderful flowers on these trees just outside the train station. Not supposed to take a picture of the border guard up there, but he's just looking after the border. And so that's the way, the entrance to the bridge you get across to Vietnam. Right there. And then there's just a walking bridge with train tracks going back. Here I found a nice little garden here. Thought I might come in for a beer. And the place is deserted. There's nobody here. It's a nice shady spot. It's quite hot here. But this looks like a nice quiet spot off the busy street here. But as I said, it's deserted. So I think I'll go and try and find a beer somewhere else. So here's the gate here going across. I'm not supposed to be photographing this, but here is a truck going in now. To Vietnam. And I don't know what kind of processing check there might be. And I was told yesterday I couldn't take this picture. Here I am today taking it. And all of the people there with the little hats on the other side of that fence, they're Vietnamese. And of course the guard who wouldn't want his picture taken. He's looking here, so I'm going to take down the... It's interesting to see these people being processed. Here comes a girl that just got across the border. And this girl here is a Vietnamese. You can tell by the hat and the... here come a couple more Vietnamese. A whole bunch of them, girls. So they've come across the border in a whole chunk. They didn't seem to have any trouble. I'm not supposed to be taking this picture, but try and see what we're getting. These are Vietnamese crossing the border. See a woman with bananas there. It's interesting, the Vietnamese push things on these bicycles, and you can see they're just two-wheeled bicycles. They don't have pedals. They have platforms that fold down to take a lot of cargo. So here are a couple of them. filled up right in here. You can see the guy has a platform underneath to sort of hold up his cargo while he loads. Come some tribes people of some sort, some ethnic ladies. Some of them have no shoes, and you can see that. Let's see if I can get them going up the back. I don't know what kind of ethnic group it is here. Anyway, so much for that. Once again, there's Vietnam over the side of the river there. And you can see this is not a very prosperous place. You can see that some housing over there. And you can look down the river past these banana trees just below me. Banana trees just in front of me here. Anyway, that's Vietnam over there. A few more pictures of Vietnam. The housing, the little village. There's a house right there. I don't see any people over there at all. Come to think of it, I don't see many houses either. Oh, there they are. Anyway, Vietnam with a lot of banana trees there. Here's some more people in another market, and you can see that these are they're having some kind of disagreement or something. I don't know what kind of disagreement they're having, but they don't seem too happy about something. So here's the vegetable market down here. You see everything is being marketed on the floor. This is really quite a hectic place here as these people sell their things. There's a girl carrying quite a load. So that's the market. Well, there's a lovely bunch of vegetables right there. And some more vendors coming down here. There's some interesting ethnic groups. Up there, some people. They're probably Vietnamese of some sort. You see the girls here with the very colorful costumes. The old lady doing something. Interesting. In this market, there's a guy cooking something. Does it look good? Would you like to eat there? Much of the food looks very, very good. Look at those spices there. Don't they look good? Good. Bunks. Down here, there are a whole bunch of them. This is quite typically the way that Chinese people might eat here. There's some more food right there. And some food right here. Anybody for that meat? Right there. You prefer those chicken legs. Looks very good. bunks. Rather like that. And then you eat the stuff, it's almost like candy inside. Got it, Matt? Then you're left with the stringy stuff. It's rather good, rather different. I've never seen anything like it before. Rather good. Guy putting things along the street the way they do. You see he's having a lean and he's got his bike especially adapted for that. And there are a couple of pushers at the back. That's quite a load on a two-wheel bike. That's how they load up these bikes all the time. There's another lady pushing a bike, and they have a special way of leaning, don't they, into the load. Anyway, that's interesting. The train from Vietnam. You see it's just coming across the border here. So this is a train that I'm going to be on. Looks like it stopped there for a second. The narrow gauge train. And it's just coming across from Vietnam under China. Well, there it is. And there's a train officer coming there. Maybe she's going to tell me not to take the picture. No, she turned around. It's quite early now. It is only about 1:15. The train leaves about 2:20. And I have a special seat. It cost me only about 30 to come here, a 60 for two, but it's cost me 290 to go back. They said they didn't have any seats except the soft seats. Anyway, here it is here. This is the train. I'm going to be on. Thank God, this is a freight train. I guess it's not the train I'm going to be on. Anyway, one like this. Just a package. After that train is gone, all of these Vietnamese are wanting to go across the tracks now. So there they go, down to Vietnam. The window's not so clean here, but look at those wonderful terrace fields way down there. That we just went by. Look at that house right down there. Even on the side of the mountain. Wonderful scenery. Look at those terraced fields. You'd be tired before you got to work. Look, isn't that spectacular? Look at that house down there. And those fields, how steep these mountains are. Everything green. More of this spectacular scenery. Oh, here's a station up here. Look, there's a station master. What a view he has from work. Look at his view. Look at houses way up there in the hill. Amazing. Look at that house. Very, very spectacular scenery around here. I don't know whether you can see the top of those mountains from here, and the river raging down below. There's the river. There's the rest of the mountains, the kind of car I'm in. And you can see these are all of the sleeping quarters off the side. Here's more of the scenery out through the screen window. Every once in a while we go through a tunnel here, everything goes black and I have to turn off the camera. Other times we're through a rock cut and you can't see anything, but look at that river way down there. And houses up there on the side of those mountains. Amazing. Here we are again. This spectacular scenery. Down there you can see some terrace fields. More mountains in the background. We snake our way through here. This is a narrow gauge railway. Looking over there, you can see the mountains that we're coming through. Isn't it spectacular? We just came out of this tunnel. Came out of this tunnel. Look at that woman there. They use the walkways here as they use the railways as walkways very frequently. Of course, this is one of the straight roads. Look at cows up here. Dog. This is one of the smooth sidewalks through the mountains. Just tiring walking along the tracks. There's some more. The woman waving. So people live up here. So we just go through this tunnel here. Look at the village down there in the mountains. There wouldn't be any road to that. This is truly spectacular through here. Very spectacular. This narrow gauge railway was built by the French at the turn of the century with Chinese hand labor. Because there wasn't machines. The track is very, very crooked. It goes around the mountain rather than through it. The tunnels tend to be short. We have another range opening up through here. More terraced fields you can see down here. It looks like we're in a rock cut here. Somehow this doesn't need words to describe it. Look at the height of that. This is in southern Yunnan. I'm just coming back from the Vietnam border. There are all kinds of mountains in China. Way up the top of that mountain up there, those are cultivated fields. There's another train track over there. You can see there's a tunnel going through the mountain over there. You can get a better view of that now, maybe. That's the mountain we've just come past with all of the cultivated fields. Expanse down there of terraced fields on either side of the river. This track turns one way and the other. There are lots of times here when the railway bed is so narrow that the vegetation scrapes against the side of the car. If you put your arm out the window and like to drive that way, you're often going to get it slapped and maybe cut some of the vegetation. You can see the mountain that we went through. Massive mountain. Track a little wider here. Look, there's apartments up here. Maybe for railroad workers. Because they're right on the side of the mountain, as you can see. If you wanted to go for a walk, the only place to go would be along the track. You never know when you're going to come across a wonderful sight here through these mountains when everything opens up. Other times like this, you're just in a big road cut. Then it opens up, and if you're going the right way, turn around the mountainside, I may be able to see out into the valley below. I just came out of that one. That wasn't too long, but here we are, opening up to the valley. There's the mountain cut that we came through over there a minute ago. Look, there's another railway way down there somewhere going through the mountains. More mountains over there. It's almost straight down bottom here. We can see over the edge. This train doesn't move very fast. I guess a single gauge, a narrow gauge, doesn't have as much stability as a regular gauge railroad. So this tends to be a rockier ride. Look at down there, there's somebody's house. Halfway down the mountain. Walked out, I guess he was waiting for the train to go by. So that big mountain there, we just came right through it. I wonder what's down here if we're going to see down the edge. Well, it looks like we're almost stopping now. Going very slow, aren't we? Very slow into another tunnel. When they dug these tunnels, they were able to even have corners. I don't know whether we can get a sense of the scale of the mountain we came out of. I don't know. Well, we're going into another tunnel. There to get out of one and we go through another. You can see the mountain behind. Very, very high mountains. So we have to come through those mountains. You can see some spectacular scenery. Whoops, lost it because of the tunnel here. Well, there we came out of there, but you can see some. Lost it again. Just came out of that. Now let's see if we can see some spectacular scenery. Well, that was a very short brief of fresh air. Just get out, see if we can get outside tunnel for a little bit to see the spectacular scenery. Look at that. Right down, of course, straight down there, we came over a tunnel. Now you can see, maybe, oh, look at that, way down there. So, this is truly a breathtaking ride. Look at that mountain we've just come through, and look at the distance to the floor down there, and there's a flag man. Maybe he looks for, look, there's his house. Interesting. Maybe he looks for rock falls to warn the train man. In that house over there, I did see somebody smoking one of the Yunnan pipes. It sort of looked like a lady. There's that house over there that we just came by a minute ago. The flag man, you can see sort of, there's the bridge that we came past over a while ago. Here's the mountain. Tape man. Oh, too bad. Well, I have another tape. Maybe I don't have much battery left. Well, that'll be it for now. I'll just run this tape out, and I guess that'll be the end. Spectacular, look at that. All of those terrace fields way down there. Amazing. Oh, my last maybe picture of that spectacular scenery way down there, all those terrace fields. Okay, top of the mountain. Down there you can see is a path where people walk up the mountain here. Okay, you can see some paths down there. Sometimes to be a farmer in China, you have to be a mountain goat. Hello, how are you? This may be my last sight. We just came through that overhang there. My tape is running out.